Welcome to another edition of Tennis Picks and Bets with Jon Reid. You can find me at Jr Tweets Tennis on Twitter. And let's get to round two. It was a wild and wacky first round of play from Roland-Garros. We had upsets galore on both sides. We even had players that won their first match withdraw before their second in both Naomi Osaka and Petra Kvitova, two of the best women in the world. Before we get into the best bets for Wednesday's round two action, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and then head on over to your favorite podcast app and do the same. Rate, review, and subscribe to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets, The Mix. On to round two we go, and we have three picks for you once again today. First up, we're going to go with Djere money line against Kecmanovic at minus 125. This one stood out to me primarily because of how it was priced. Last round, Kecmanovic was a plus 150 underdog against Daniel Evans. Keep in mind that Dan Evans had a nice run in Monte Carlo, but he wasn't exactly a world beater on clay at any other point in his career. So Kecmanovic being that much of an underdog, I understood, and was actually probably some value. This time around, he's playing a much more competent clay quarter, someone who has a title on the surface, someone who's been pretty in form since the restart on the clay, especially when he's locked in Djere, that I cannot get past making him a plus 110 underdog. We are going to go play the slight favorite here because he's the better player. He's more accustomed to slower conditions. And I think that we're seeing way too much of an overreaction from the first match to the second when it comes to the young Serbian player who hasn't had the greatest success on clay to date. The second match I want to touch on is on the women's side of the draw. We're going to play Madison Keys against Annie Fernandez at minus 103. And boy, it's been a rough go for Canadians so far at the French Open, with Bianca Andreescu and Felix Auger-Aliassime crashing out in the first round, then Milos Raonic and Denis Shapovalov out before the tournament started, and I fear it's not going to get much better for Canadians. Annie Fernandez is the last remaining hope, and she is up against a tough player in Madison Keys. Keys is more of a big hitter, big server who is prone to the occasional error, while Annie Fernandez plays more of a defensive game. You would think that would favor the young Canadian, but she hasn't been that great on clay. She hasn't been able to turn that hard court success with her game style into success on the dirt. As a result, we've seen Madison Keys and her history here at Roland-Garros. She's had plenty of success despite the conditions perhaps not suiting her. The clay allows her to slow down a bit, get into rhythm on the longer points, and her serve and forehand are big enough to still power through the slower conditions. I'm going to go play Madison Keys here at minus 103 against the young Canadian, who I think will be just overpowered too much. Finally, we're going to go back to the men's side and play Filip Krajinovic moneyline against Jon Isner at minus 115. Big Jon Isner, anyone who watches tennis knows he's got one of the greatest serves in the history of the game. He's almost 7 feet tall, and he can just bully people with that first serve. But when it comes to clay, sometimes that's not enough. In the first round, he beat Sam Querrey, a fellow big serving American, and sure, that's a winnable match. This time around, he's playing a craftier, more honed opposition in terms of the Serbian Filip Krajinovic. I don't think that the serve is going to be enough to get Jon through this match. Krajinovic has had experience on clay from years ago right up to the present. He's won challenger titles. He's more comfortable on it. He grew up on it. And the key here is that he's not easily broken. When you're going to back Jon Isner on clay, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who Jon can break and then just continuously hold his serve to beat. That's not the case here. Krajinovic has a more than respectable serve, and I expect him to be able to use that to keep things close and then overall have the better style, that's the better clay court game, and use that to come through in the important and crucial moments. I think he should be a much bigger favorite here. So Filip Krajinovic, minus 115 against Jon Isner is the final pick for Wednesday. We're here at the second round. Content will continue every day, guys. Again, remember to subscribe and like this video.